with me now four of my favorite people: David Barton, Rabbi Daniel Lapin, Reverend James Robison, and Dave Roever, who is not a preacher. How would you describe yourself?
Well, I do preach. When my wife says I do a pretty good job on her. I am for the United States military. I am a DoD contractor, and I'm a resiliency coach with a comprehensive training program, comprehensive training for soldiers, which includes 5 pillars, and one of those pillars is spiritual. And I train in the area of spiritual resiliency and physical resiliency and psychological resiliency and marital resiliency. I've been married 43 years to the same girl. When I came home, she didn't even know who I was when I came home from the war. She looked at me and said, "That's not him." I'm saying, "Yes, this is him," but she just, they had no face. My skull stuck out here, my head was swollen with my shoulder. You can see my heart beating. She said, "That's not him." And then she bent down and kissed what was left of my face and looked me in my good eye. She said, "That's him." I made it 43 years. It was the same one. We married when we were virgin, and we're still married. You thought I was going to say virgin. So it's resiliency. And my goal, going back to Dr. Robison, his statement about hope is the key to everything that we're trying to see here. And you harp on it all the time, too. Hope is the great resiliency of the human race. And if we put the truth in the middle, that's why whenever they call me to come speak at these as a resiliency coach, they don't ask me to talk about a religion I don't know anything about. They ask me to talk about Jesus Christ, the Son of God, who I happen to love with all my heart, who I believe died for me and rose from the dead, is coming back for me. I go in there and I talk that to these guys. And they come out of their funk. They're coming home and committing suicide and losing their marriages, and my job's to stop that on the battlefield before they ever get hope. And if this can work under the intense scrutiny and the crucible of war and suffering and pain and loneliness, dear God, it can work for anybody in this country. It's a message of hope, Glenn.
May I ask you this? Last weekend I met with Reverend Billy Graham, and he has such hope. He sat there in his chair with me, and he doesn't ever break eye contact. And he said, "I have such peace." And I could tell he did have such peace. And he said, "I have such hope." He said, "I'm not afraid of death. I'm a little worried about the whole dying part, but death I'm not afraid of." And I asked him, and he didn't understand the meaning behind it. This is more of a personal question. What I do every day is point out the truth, and it's ugly, and it is dark, and it makes people feel hopeless.
And it will set you free.
But how? Where's the hope? How do I possibly bring a message
pointing
of
out
hope?
The truth of the catastrophic consequences of totally ignoring biblical justice and biblical truth. That's why this rabbi and I can sit here. And a lot of people may say, it seems that you have a rapport, you love one another, because we believe in the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And he understands the impact Christians should be making and must make if we're going to have much in the future. And we understand the importance of the foundation here. I'm going to tell you there's a bigger miracle in this room. This is a classic Pentecostal sitting by a Baptist, fundamentalist Baptist. I'm sitting here with an incredible historian who comes also from kind of you'd say, an independent background. But we're all here as a family. And we're sitting here with a Mormon on television where we know theologically we could have some very heated discussions. I'm going to tell you something about our discussions. The love of God that's in my heart for you is beyond my ability to adequately describe.
Me too.
But by the grace of God can I demonstrate it. And I just happen to believe that you love this nation. And when you say I'm seeking truth, and you say to everybody else out here, seek truth, if you keep pursuing truth and seeking truth, you're going to continue to find truth. And you're going to continue to invite others on that journey. And I'm saying to the whole Christian community, let's come together and quit fighting one another. Let's come together for common purpose. Hone the edge. Let's cut through the gates of hell and destruction. And let's be the city set on a hill. Now that's where I hear you calling for. I hear you crying out, where is that city? Where are those people who love God and love one another? And I really believe you're seeing a little microcosm, a little mini demonstration.
But then your life testifies to the fact that the springs of spiritual regeneration run deep and can never be closed.
Well, let me just say this to you. I'm going to affirm his word from my own mouth. When they called today, I had no idea I was going to be in New York right now. I had to get a private plane to get me here. It probably cost me $8,000 to make this trip. I don't give a rip. I don't care what it costs. Because they said, are you willing to do that? I said, I will do anything for Glenn Beck I can, as long as he continues to tell the truth about what our nation is facing and who our true enemies are. And I watch you and I listen to you, and until you contradict yourself and just blow it, you've got my support. And until I contradict it and blow it, go ahead and support me anyway. You got nothing to do.
Back in just a minute.